the fact that Ephraim and Manasseh were born to a Egyptian mother in Egypt, and yet they are brought into the family of God by adoption. It's Jacob who adopts them and brings them into his family. So we have a picture in the Hebrew Scriptures very early on that it was God's intent to not only work with the children of Israel, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, but it was also his intention to draw in and to incorporate Gentiles into the very family of the Messiah and into the fold, if you will, of the nation of Israel. It was not his intent to leave Gentiles on the margins, but in fact to make them members of the family. And he adopts Ephraim and Manasseh, and they become part of the 12 tribes. And yet these two boys, Ephraim and Manasseh, are born in Egypt to an Egyptian mother. That makes them, by definition, Egyptian. Where you were born and who you were born to makes you who you are. And yet these two boys become part of the 12 tribes. The second thing I would note is that notice how we have with this adoption that he takes the youngest and elevates him above the oldest. All the way through the book of Genesis, we see the oldest being put down, so to speak, or reduced, diminished, and the younger ones elevated. All the way through the book of Genesis, the book of Breshit, we see this happening. And I believe that the reason that this happens, at least one of the reasons, is that the culture said that the firstborn is the one who gets the inheritance and the one who gets all the privileges and the rights, primarily, that are passed down from the father. And what we're seeing is God saying, in essence, I'm not bound by your culture. While the culture may say that this is the way things should go, all the way through the book, he says, I'll reverse the effects of culture, and I will elevate those who are younger above those who are older. And we see that happening all the way through the book of Genesis, and I think it moves even outside the book of Genesis. That would be the main thing. Now go with me to Genesis 48. I want to show you something.
Brent?
Yes.
I think we see that today too, that God doesn't work through the first man. He works through the man that has been born anew.
Right.
The second birth.
Absolutely. That's a good line. It's a great line. Notice what he says in 48:15 really quick. He says, and he blessed Joseph and said, God before whom my fathers Abraham and Yitzhak walked, the God who led me all my life to this day, the messenger, Greek would translate it, angelos, the angel who has redeemed me from all evil. There has been an angel working with and following and leading these people all the way. And let me suggest that this angel, that this messenger, is none other than Yeshua the Messiah. This is high Christology. This is Jesus before he was Jesus.
Who else can redeem them?
Who else could redeem them? From all evil. Who redeemed me from all calamity or all evil. But he says, the God who has fed me all my life long to this day, and the angel who has redeemed me from all evil. And I think he's referring there to, we've seen this angel of the Lord, Genesis 16, Genesis 22. We've seen this angel come along and be present with the family, this first family. And so now I want you to go over to just this last verse here. He says this, verse 21. Then Israel said to Joseph, behold, I am dying, but God will be with you. Notice that phraseology, God will be with you. And we're going to talk in a moment here about this concept of God with us. In Hebrew, you would say, Im anu el, God with us. Okay? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Now go with me to Psalm 23, the 23rd Psalm.